Welcome back. I'm Wyatt Goolsby in for Lauren Ashburn. A Netflix series called 13 Reasons Why tells the story of a teenage girl's suicide based on the book by Jay Asher. Two families claim the show triggered their children's deaths. One of many reasons why our next guest says it's important for parents to discuss suicide with their children. Joining us now is Roy Petitfils with the Pax Renewal Center, which provides therapy grounded in Christian faith. Roy has also studied at the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas in Rome. Well, according to the Centers for Disease Control, suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 34-year-olds. Roy, this is an alarming statistic. How big of an issue is this?
It's the biggest issue concerning young people right now because their lives are on the line. And it's one that we as a church are becoming increasingly aware. And just getting back from the convocation in Orlando yesterday, it's one that our bishops and the leaders in our church are taking very seriously.
You know, Roy, you say this new Netflix series accurately portrays the pressures teenagers face, like depression and cyberbullying. How have those pressures changed over the years?
They've changed. They've become more complex. They're more intense because of social media, because of the breakdown of family resources, interpersonal resources for teens. And so those pressures have become a lot more intense because resources that were formerly available to them aren't there. And because so many folks are unavailing themselves of religion and religious practice, that's another major support that we're just not taking advantage of in many cases. So that intensifies the pressures.
Well, noting those pressures, how can parents then have a meaningful conversation with their children about the issue?
One would be to speak about the issue directly. Don't mince words about suicide. Don't mince words about bullying and cyberbullying and about sexuality. Secondly would be to listen. Listen to teens. That's so much of what they need is to feel heard. And as parents, we get into a place of fear. And so we go into our reactive mode. And teens don't need us to fix the problem. They really just need to feel heard. And so practicing some listening skills would just go a long way. And then thirdly, don't be afraid if you're uncertain to get help for your teen. Reach out to your pastor, reach out to your church, reach out to a mental health professional.
The church teaches us that suicide is a sin. What are some of the ways you can educate young people about the importance of life and the value of human life?
Absolutely. And, the church teaches that suicide is a sin, that it's certainly grave matter. Thankfully, our understanding informed by science of how severe of a mental health condition normally it pre-exists one taking their own life has given us a bit of compassion, hopefully, around the nature. But we definitely want to let teens know that it is a moral issue while it is also a mental health issue, and it's not one to be taken lightly. Teens want to talk about this issue with adults, but too often we adults fear the copycat syndrome, right? We fear that we're going to cause it and suggest it by talking about it, and that's not the case. If anything adults get out of this, I want them to not be afraid because that won't cause suicide. In fact, it will relieve the pressures. Teens want to talk about it.
Well, I know these can be such tough issues when you talk about depression and suicide, but it is important, as you say, Roy, that we bring it to light. Roy Petitfils of the Pax Renewal Center, thanks so much for talking with us about it.
Thank you, Wyatt.